right, so in case you didn't know, Monday Night Raw just ended, and there was a huge surprise at the end of the show because Team Cody Rhodes, or Team Seth Rollins, the baby faces, revealed at the end of the show that the fifth man on their team for War Games, since Drew McIntyre joined up with the Judgment Day to make their team be their fifth man, the fifth man on the babyface team is Randy Orton, making his return after a year and a half of being off. The last time he was on television was in the middle of May. I think it was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where he got injured, and there was all kinds of talk that he might actually be done, like done. Like, back injuries, man. And of course, obviously, when you're a professional athlete at that level, a multimillionaire, you're going to get your back done by the best doctors in the world, right? You're not going to settle for less. I just know that I had an ex who was the daughter of a chiropractor, and she would always tell me that after back surgery, a lot of people actually get worse. Obviously, there's different types of back surgeries, and I'm not an expert in any of that. I'm not a spinal surgeon, but I've heard that before, that certain types of back surgeries can make things worse. Well, because of that, we didn't know what the future was for Randy Orton. Will he actually retire? Will he come back? I know there was some stuff that was, left unfinished between him and Matt Riddle. Like, that was RK Bro was a super over act. Super over. So, it's official now. Now, tonight was the Raw Go Home show. There's still one more show left as the Go Home show, which is going to be Friday's SmackDown from FS1. But I'm going to assume they're not going to add any more matches. This show's already got 5 matches, and 2 of them are War Games, and those are going to at least go 45 minutes to an hour, right? At least one of them will. So the show will probably come out to be either 3 hours or maybe 3 hours, 15 minutes, maybe 3.5, but it's probably not going to go past the 3.5 hour mark. But I want to give you my predictions for this pay-per-view, and I will say this. I will tell you this. I feel like some of these matches are a bit too predictable. The 2 War Games matches are clearly carrying this show because everything else on this card, well, almost everything else, just seems pretty obvious. I have no problem with that necessarily because when you see this show, you're seeing it for War Games. Most of the top talent, men and women, are going to be in that. And as far as we know, the women's match is 4-on-4, not 5-on-5, unless, of course, they add, 2 more women on SmackDown. But we're going to go ahead and go into this preview, assuming they won't add any more matches. So I want to get the undercard out of the way. Intercontinental Championship match, Gunther versus The Miz. Come on, bro. You really think The Miz has any iota of a chance of dethroning Gunther, bro? And here's the thing. They tried tonight. The Miz did get the big, he was able to hit his finisher and low-blowed Gunther on Raw tonight to kind of give him a hope spot. But good Lord. Miz is just going to be another person to add to Gunther's impressive collection of guys he's beaten. And I'm sure the match will be good because there's no bad matches that Gunther could ever have. There's no such thing as him having a bad match. The Miz might not be the best worker. I would have probably preferred, like, if I were pulling a Tony Khan and I were trying to put together the best wrestling match for this pay-per-view, Gunther against Chad Gable or Gunther against, like, Gargano or Ciampa would probably work out better, but they've done a lot of that already. So the Miz will just be in there to put him over. I'm sure it'll be a fine matchup, but who's going to win? Come on. Rhea Ripley, Zoe Stark for the women's world title. Again, pretty obvious to see who the winner is going to be. I don't think Zoe Stark has one iota of a chance to win either. This could be a great time to bring Trish back, since the last time that we saw Trish, Zoe Stark turned on her and laid her out. And of course, we still have that feud. Plus, it would make sense for Trish to come back and finish that now, because the Royal Rumble is right around the corner. Well, it's 2 months away, but I say right around the corner because there's going to be a women's Rumble, and the women's Rumbles usually have surprise entrants, or at least legends, and so Trish would fit into that. So maybe Trish will screw over Zoe. Even if she doesn't, Zoe has no chance, dude. Rhea Ripley is not dropping that title until minimum WrestleMania. And I don't know if it's going to be Rhea versus Bianca that teased earlier this year, or if it'll be Rhea versus Becky Lynch. Either of those two matches I think work for me. But Rhea Ripley is not dropping that title, my friends. Then we have Carlito against Santos Escobar. So this one's interesting. Obviously, there's a story here, with Santos turning on Rey, which is funny because I remember hearing that Santos would be turning on Rey going all the way back to, oh God, like when that episode of SmackDown where Rey got the U.S. title shot from Santos, that was like where they really began to plant the seed. And then, of course, Santos turned. Rey has to go get surgery, which is for real. So Santos, of course, now has to wrestle Carlito until Rey comes back. So Santos needs to win this match. Obviously, like Carlito just came back, and you want to give him a win, but he did get a win. He beat Bobby Lashley, I think. I don't even remember. That was like last week. I don't even remember, 2 weeks ago. But no, I think that in order for the health of this feud, in order for the Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio feud to actually have legs, you can't have Santos losing to Carlito. So again, it might not be as predictable as the two title matches were, but it's still easy to see that Santos will win. Now, Women's War Games. So we've got Damage Control, Bayley, Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. So it's Bayley and 3 Asian women. That's kind of a... I'm sure if you Google that in certain websites, you'll get something very good. Anyways, to Google Latina and 3 Asian women. See what comes up, bro. See what comes up. Anyways, they're facing off against Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. Interesting that Becky Lynch be on Charlotte's team, considering that, well, you guys know that story that happened a couple years ago with them having that behind the scenes like shouting match. It almost became a fight. Let's not forget that story. Obviously, they've been able to, I would assume, cool it. They're both professionals, so you're not going to see them stiffen each other, I would assume. Or maybe they did, like in real life, maybe they did make up. I don't know. I just remember that. But it was a big deal that Becky was obviously a big foe to both Bianca and Charlotte. Maybe not so much Shotzi, but definitely those two. I think the babyface women are going to win. I think Team Bianca will win. I feel like there could be a situation where Becky Lynch gets the pinfall win over like Io to give her a title shot. I don't know. It depends on whether or not they want to go with. So if they go with Becky against Io for the Rumble, they could still have Becky get the title shot at Mania because there's 2 titles. Or they could just have somebody else like Bianca go for it again. There's just a lot they can do. But I still feel like in my heart of hearts that the babyface women are gonna win this match. I think it'll be going on first. I'm pretty sure this match will open the show and they will close with the men's match. And normally I was gonna say that I thought the men's match would open, but when they announced Randy Orton tonight, that is a big return in Chicago. And actually that brings me to my next point. Will we see CM Punk return on this show? I'll be honest, I think the answer is no. I know that some of the internet sheets have reported that WWE has no interest. I kind of think so as well. I don't think he's coming. The truth is that no matter how much of a CM Punk fan you are, and no matter how much the Elite are partially to blame for this, and they are, CM Punk getting into fights with Jack Perry had nothing to do with the Elite. So obviously the lowest common denominator was him, right? But I'm not going to say he was innocent, or I'm not going to say he was the only guilty party. I think Tony Khan showed a lack of leadership in that situation, but I think that on top of the way he's badmouthed WWE and the way he's now sort of treated people in AEW, why would you ever want to hire that guy You don't need him. WWE's red hot right now. They're selling out arenas all over the world. They got worldwide pay-per-views. They've got plenty of stars. Randy Orton's about to come back. Somebody who, you know, he has a when he was younger, he could have been a handful, but not so much in recent years. CM Punk is in his 40s behaving this way. I just feel like there's no benefit to WWE. Maybe what, 6 months of storylines, maybe a year. I just don't think it's happening. If it happens, we'll be surprised. But I feel like if you're a fan and you're waiting for that, you're gonna be let down. But who knows? Who knows? It's wrestling. It's wrestling, my friends. You know, there's no point just to bring somebody who is that toxic back into a locker room, which for all intents and purposes right now is getting along. There's no point. All right, so Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, the Viper, a gazillion names, versus the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre. Judgment Day members are going to be Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD Madonna. So I feel like JD Madonna is in there to get pinned. And I could definitely see a situation where Cody or Randy pin him. And we could see an awesome like RKO. Like maybe one of them tries to jump off the top rope and Randy catches them. There was some crazy spot. We could see something crazy here. However, part of me thinks, and this might sound weird, but hear me out. Part of me thinks that the heels might win this one. You know, I know it sounds odd because Cody's going to be in his first like War Games match that's actually called War Games, you know, in WWE, right? The match that his father created back in the mid 80s. But I also feel like to keep the Judgment Day strong, which they're pretty strong the way it is. I just have this weird feeling that Drew McIntyre is going to get the pinfall win over somebody. But it's also Randy Orton's return. So you know what? Maybe not. Like, I feel like, okay, last week when it was just 4-on-4, before they decided to add the fifth men, or 2 weeks ago, whatever, I totally could see Judgment Day winning. That way the feud has to continue into the Rumble and beyond that. However, now that Randy Orton's been added, look, the heels could win. But I also feel like I think Randy's going to do something cool. Even if he doesn't get the pinfall, he'll be involved in the finish somehow. Maybe he'll RKO Finn Balor. I mean, there's so many things they can do and so much history here. I'm excited for it. I am excited for it. We have not seen Randy Orton in so long. He's one of those guys that you do tend to miss him when he's gone. So that's going to be a lot of fun. What I want to know is, will Randy Orton have the mustache? Let me know down below. Will Randy Orton rock the mustache this Saturday? Yes or no? I will see, man. But I'm excited for the show. Yeah, it's only a 2-match card. Like, 2 matches that matter. But War Games matches are a good time. So it should be a good time. And I hope that it is a good time. And I'll be back here reviewing the show Saturday night when it ends. Anyways, see you then, guys. Take care. Talk to you soon.